What's up, city builders? We're back to City Skylines 2, to our beautiful starting city of York. We are going to keep expanding in this episode, mostly our suburban areas. As we can see, we have a lot of demand for that. We're gonna maybe resolve some issues, but first I wanted to show you a little bit of the stuff that I've worked on outside of the recordings. I spent some time kind of trying to figure out why the high density, or rather medium density, looked the way it did. And it's actually, as one of you pointed out in the comments, the size of the zoning. So a very useful tip, actually. If you want a smaller building, you just need to zone a smaller tile. If you want a bigger building, a bigger tile. So what I've went back and done, I've removed basically all of the buildings that we had before where I just blanket zoned everything. And what I did instead is I zoned smaller pieces of land, creating little inside areas for the residents with some paths. I've put a lot of paths all the way around. I've made little trails here next to the river, which is super realistic, at least to the area where I live. You find these everywhere near the rivers. And yeah, I basically remade this whole area, which is now our kind of central downtown. Not really, because this is mostly residential stuff, but yeah, this is not really downtown. It's mostly like just the residential core. But today we're going to be focusing on actually redeveloping some of the stuff we already have, while also building towards a downtown of some sort. We currently have, as I mentioned, a lot of demand for residential, but we also have demand for office and industrial, which is another point that you guys pointed out in the comments, actually, that you wanted me to move this further away from the city. And, you know, we kind of polluted the initial aquifer. I had to move our water pumping station elsewhere. So we do have to think about that now too. But the first thing for today is going to be redevelopment of this highway. So when I was initially creating this, I'm not sure why I decided to go for the elevated road. Here in Toronto, elevated highways is not really a very popular thing. We do have elevated highways in the very center of the city in Toronto downtown, but otherwise it's mostly all just on top of the land. So I'm going to go back, and because this area is mostly based on kind of the more western part of Toronto, which is also known as Etobicoke, we are going to put this highway down on the street level. We're going to completely redevelop this highway entrance, and we're going to add another one somewhere here for our existing industry while it's still here. But that's basically the first little part of the episode, and I hope you enjoy this time lapse of me basically ripping all of this apart and starting anew. Let's do it. Okay, so I've basically landed the highway down. I also moved it a bit further away from the main road, which is Lafayette Street, to give us a bit more space to do interchanges, which is going to be fairly important. What I am going to do now is basically reintroduce all of the connections that we've severed, but instead of having the whole highway elevated, we will just elevate the roads that are crossing the highway. So that is going to be a couple of connections. I'm gonna grab a 4-lane road, the one that we had before, line it up here. So I don't think I want this connecting, to be honest, so let's just remove that. And I will make a smaller step. So what is the optimal height that we need to cross the highway? So it's not 5, it's like probably 7.5. 7.5 is good. These will have to go. These will not fit here. So we will line it up with this road as close as we can. Drag our road across. Okay, maybe make one step further away. So many snapping options, and it ends up being a little bit annoying to navigate, but I think this is what we want. Nice. Now let's redraw this connection back to this road. Add 0 meters. Now this does look a little bit awkward, I'll say that much. Creates a bit of a dangerous intersection, to be honest. With how we have this set up, it doesn't seem we have much of a choice. I just expected the distance between the highway and the main road to be a little bit wider, but that's okay. To be honest, that's okay. I think I'm gonna live with it. It's just a matter of how we set up the connections, which is super important. All right, let's just keep with it for now. Let's connect a road here. I see that I like this much more. Cross those highway. And then simply connect it down to ground level over here. It's just a little bit awful. And we can actually spread this out a bit more, because we do have that luxury here on this side. So that's something we're looking at right now with the 2 kind of overpasses. I think that's the only 2 ones we need for our arterials. And I'm now going to attempt at building out a bit of a entrance exit point. Not all entrances and exits are omnidirectional, which means you can enter and exit both ways. But I think for the sake of keeping this somewhat realistic, we're gonna have to do it. Now, I need to create nodes here. About here. And maybe about here. That allows us to now line these up a bit better, a bit more refinement. So we can do something like this, and then on this side, same thing. Much smoother than City Skylines 1, eh? And let's see if we can do actually... Now this is interesting. I think because this is so super close, we might not have much of an option here. How would this look? Would this look awful? Yeah, this would look pretty... Yeah, this would look pretty awful. So, okay, so I think the issue with these particular overpasses is that I've simply not given myself enough space. So that is something we're gonna have to completely rethink by not removing the roads, but just simply making our intersections slash... Oh, rather, not intersections, but entrances and exits off and off of highway somewhere else. So let's just downgrade these back to the regular 2 lanes. And I'm thinking, I was looking at this earlier, this road seems pretty important, Willow Street, because it's basically going all the way around and landing us back at Sterling Street, which is the street where I originally wanted to connect the highway to. This seems a bit more logical to me because we will filter out a bit more traffic throughout this whole area instead of dumping everything into a pretty dense commercial anyway. Let's see how it works. Let's first remove this and maybe this for time being. So let me upgrade this slip ramp. And let's now try something like this. Okay, so what I do actually want to happen here is a two-way highway coming out of here. Okay, so we will do this, and then this could actually be an interesting solution to our issue right now. The only thing I'm struggling with is this snapping, man. This is getting a little bit upsetting. Okay, I think this is fine. Boom, and then similarly over on this side, we will have to create another slip ramp over here. Boom. Okay, so now we have a very, very simple, but much more serviceable exit and entrance. What that basically means is that we will have to now think about the entrance and exits from the highway going this way, and that we can do here because this space is basically empty for now. We don't really have anything zoned or planned here, so this is a perfect opportunity to use it up by creating entrances and exits onto Empire Highway going out of the city. So let's do that now. Do we have space here underneath? Because this could actually be an opportunity for something a bit more interesting than just a regular old interchange. The game's not going to allow me to have a bridge because it's 7.5. That's kind of annoying. What if we put in a highway first? Like this, and then like that. I think that's good. Yeah, that allows us to get the traffic out of this way. Okay, this is actually coming along better than I expected with how we initially started this off with. Okay, so I think this is much simpler than I'm making it out to be. What we just need to do is basically make this half circle much, much smaller, which gives us a bit more space to create the other direction exit. So let's make this 30. 30. This could be a 30, and then we go down to 2.5 meters elevation. And then finally, we turn back our guides and feed this back in. So this is a much nicer circle now. What that allows us to do now is quite simply something I should have thought of in the first place. So that building is going to complain if we get too close. That's alright. We can just signalize this. I don't think it'll be that big of a disaster. So we will go up to 30. Oh, we need a straight angle, I think, here. So that's at 30. And now here, do want a slightly larger radius. There's a lot of fine tuning here. So this can come down to 2.5 similarly. And then finally we can turn back our guides. Okay, and now we just have to rejig the direction on this, and there we have it. So similarly, we will now remove these crossings remove the traffic light, but we will have traffic light over here for our entrance. So this is not bad. There's certainly better ways to do this, but I mean, with how little space we have on this side, I think this is our only real solution. Usually we would have this mirrored on this side, but of course we can't really do that. So this is our initial entrance exit. Let's turn attention to here, which is going to be far more difficult. Let's clear a little bit of space on this side. Okay, so what I've created here is this Frankenstein of an interchange that allows for omnidirectionality, which means you can enter and exit on this interchange from either direction. But for example, if you're coming from Pacific Highway, I've created two options for you to exit, which means you can either go this way to enter the industrial park or go straight to enter the city. This way is a lot simpler. This one exit goes this way, and that's basically the only option you have. And to enter the highway, you can only go from this direction. So that is the setup I have for now. We'll see how that works. We're gonna start play the game and then see how the traffic adjusts to this, but obviously this is not perfect by any means. I am kind of the... what's the word here? I'm a victim to my own creation. I didn't really plan it out properly, but I'm hoping that this could make sense, at least for the time being. Alright, so we spent half the episode building highways. Makes sense. Let's now turn attention to whatever we wanted to do next. We did want to kind of do something with our industry. So let's do that. First, I'm gonna wrap around our landfill with a simple road. We can actually just connect it here. I do think it would be beneficial to remove this connection from here. You can redraw it, but just not connect it with the road. So now we have to think about this little area. Let's build out a little bit of a frame for what's gonna be a office park, I'm assuming. Okay, so I've created a bit of a grid here. I kind of got carried away a little bit with creating it, making sure it was perfect, and then it just ended up not being perfect, and I'm perfect with it. I'm fine. It's okay. Trust me. Okay, so what I really wanted to quickly look at is the possibility of having a recycling center, and that is something we can actually do. So let's unlock it. I think, what does that give us? That gives us, well, the recycling center. Let's see how it compares to the regular landfill. So recycling center is significantly better at storage and capacity. It has 5 less trucks. It also has less pollution than the landfill, but it does cost significantly more to upkeep. I don't think money currently is a problem. We do have 2 million, so I do wonder if it's worth to put in a little bit of a what we call a recycling plant over here in this corner. Oh, this is sweet. That means we are good to basically remove the landfill only. I think it's the same. Yep, we need to empty it first, so we will start emptying it and we will be removing it from this spot. Now let's turn our attention to demands. So we do have industrial office demand. We will take care of it in a bit. First, let's take care of our growing population that needs places to live. I will unlock these tiles over here. We'll purchase them. And let's start expanding our grid this way. I'm gonna speed it up for you, and I'll get back to you once we have some progress done. Alright, so we've satisfied a little bit of demand, but it's still at its all-time high. We've filled out a couple of little low-density residential here. I'm seeing a nice opportunity here for a little alleyway. I think that would be super nice. Maybe we don't connect it to arterials, but we can do something like this. And then on the same note, we do something like that. That feels nice. And then we have like access to the backs of these buildings and whatnot. That's pretty realistic. Cool. I like that. All right, so let's turn our attention to industrial, because I said we were going to figure that out today, and that we will. I think I assessed the wind direction a little bit further, and I decided that this is probably the best spot to build. So that is going to be our focus right now. We're going to, of course, unlock this tile. I'm going to maybe flatten this out a little bit. I know, it's much more interesting to play with actual proper, what do you call it, terrain, but I don't know. I find it difficult, and I hate the challenge. Just kidding. I'm gonna pretend that I'm just. The only reason I'm not doing it is because I'm basing it off of Toronto. Toronto doesn't have that much terrain, so yeah, that's my cop-out. Anyways, let's continue this highway going, and let's now turn our attention to building out our initial road hierarchy. So let's actually flip this direction. Cool. So we do have a road coming in here. I do think I want this road coming in over the highway into this area, and of course we will have a interchange right here. So let's first cross this river. Now, in the last episode I had issues making a bridge here, and I actually don't understand why. This is a mystery to me. Okay, so I seem to have fixed it. We did have to make this massive hump, which, okay, sure. Actually, I don't really like what it's done here, but I don't think we have a choice. So, let me try to tweak this so it's at least symmetrical on both sides. Okay, I'm kind of okay with that, I guess. Let's maybe feather all of this stuff out a bit so we don't have such a weird looking shore. Okay, that's fine, I think. All right. Well, we did cross this river somehow, so that's fine. Let's now turn attention to this road, which I want to bring over the highway. So similarly, we will start bringing this road up a bit. I'm gonna start, of course, at 0. Gonna come up to about, what is this, 225-ish. Another step to 10. And then we can safely cross both to about here. And down to the ground in about 226. Alright, I think that's more than reasonable. So let's continue this road down. I do want a nice straight, well, straight at least angles-wise connection here. That's fine. That's good. Alright, so now we have these roads connecting. Ooh, what is what is this weirdness happening here? That's not straight. Let's fix this. That fix it? More or less. I don't mind it, actually. That's fine. Alright, so now we have 2 connections going into this area. Let's work on a highway entrance. So while we already have this road here, Pine Street, I think it makes sense to build towards it. Our exits and entrances. So let's make another slip lane here. And now let's do something a bit quirkier. I do want this... Basing this off of a highway connection that I've literally driven at for years, so I want this to be semi-realistic. So actually what would happen here is this would fork out. Actually, something like this. Let's see, how should this connect? Like this probably, right? What's the elevation saying? It's actually not too bad. And then of course we need to, ugh, that looks pretty awful. So, let's attempt this again. Okay, so I think this would actually work much better. So we will drag a road through to here. Then we will connect this one right here, and then we would finally do a proper connection to our road here. Perfectly done. All right, I think... Yeah, it's a little rough, but much better what we had before. Now let's curve this in. So we will continue this road a little bit further. Not entirely awful, I don't think. So that allows us to have traffic exit onto here from this on-ramp, and then traffic that wants to go towards the industry on this one. Cool, so now let's grab our road services and of course remove all the stuff that we don't need, like traffic lights and crossings. So that is more or less fine. I mean, the lines are a little broken, but there's nothing we can do. It's vanilla, completely vanilla for now. Although I did see some mods. Let me know in the comments if you want me to introduce some mods into the game. Cool, so that is one entrance configured. We might as well configure the other way around while we have some time, even though there's not going to be any traffic going through this way anytime soon, but we can just kind of make some room for it. All right, let's do it. Okay, so for this side I went for something much simpler. We just have simply a signal light that's gonna allow people to turn left if they needed to. So, not sure how well that's gonna work, but I guess we'll find out. But this is what I have for now, and I'm okay with it. Cool, so now let's turn our attention back to the little industrial park that I am about to build. Let's just continue a road then into this tear, so maybe that'll fix things a little bit. That's fine. I'm gonna be okay with it. Cool. So now we finally have stuff intersecting and connecting to the highway. It could be beneficial to have another one somewhere here, but I think this is gonna suffice for a very long time at least. Let's now add some collectors / local roads for this office park. I'm gonna loosely base this around stuff that I've seen in real life, but of course it's gonna be a little bit more free. Because with tools provided, it's not entirely possible to build something super realistic. So let's just try our best to make a nice grid and see how it comes along. Let's do it. Okay, sweet. So this took a little bit longer than I expected, but I did fill out this space with pretty basic grid, nothing super special. We just have nice big lots for whatever decides to grow in here. And now I want to be thoughtful about how we zone this. So, of course, in the first episode I was just blanket zoning everything. And this was true for City Skylines 1, and it's still true for this game. It's all about the size of the stuff that you zone. So if we zone something like this, it's going to be a larger factory. If we zone something like this, it's going to be a much smaller one. So I want to leave gaps. Now, of course, it's not super efficient, but for my intents and purposes, that's going to be fine. I don't want anything growing up on the crest street, so I'm going to stick to this grid that I made. We can make something a little wider there. Something small, and then bigger factories over on this side. And then I'm just gonna fill the rest of this out and get back to you. So while that is growing up, I decided to introduce a little office park over on this side of the highway, or rather arterial. So we're gonna zone in some smaller offices, something like this. Oh, you're too big. And yeah, I'll get back to you once we do that. Right, so I'll leave this stuff to grow. Let's now go back to our original industry and clean it up a bit. Ooh, while we were doing that, look at this. It is fall. It is officially fall in our city, and it looks absolutely gorgeous. Wow. This is actually my first time progressing in the city so far that I can see a season change. This is super nice. I love this. This is awesome. Anyways, I wanted to clean this area out because now obviously we don't really need it. We have moved our industry. Let's check in on how this landfill is doing. It is now empty, which means we can probably just bulldoze it perfectly. Alright, so let's remove all the remnants of industry left here. We can redevelop this area to be a bit of an office park, I feel. That would be decent. How's our recycling center doing? So, it's doing pretty well. It's not using all of its capacity, but it does have enough employees, so that's fine. We're gonna cross the highway after we deal with this area, because we do have, once again, lots and lots of low density. While I was doing the industry stuff, actually, we are now a tiny town. We've progressed to a new milestone. That gives us mixed housing. Ooh, I want to experiment with that right now. I really want to experiment with that right now. That is my priority. I'm dropping everything I'm doing, and I'm experimenting with mixed stuff. So, what I'm thinking is we basically go ahead and we can actually just remove a bunch of this stuff and a mixed housing. Cool. Let's do it. I want to remove these paths so we have some space. How would this look, I wonder? So we come in like this. I'm just experimenting right now. I want to see how these grow up. Let's maybe vary these ever so slightly. Let's hit play. So we don't have a demand for it currently, but... oh, actually, it is starting to grow up. That's fine. Oh, these are tall. These are all tall boys. I don't mind it. I don't actually mind it. So that's fun. What is happening here? Not enough customers? Not a problem. Let's keep zoning. We do currently have a lot of demand for low density, like I said. We have some frames here to fill out. So let's do that. Okay, so I filled out some of our demand. It slowly went down. Let's get back to industry. We have a lot of demand for it, so let's keep at it. We might add some closer to the office buildings. I don't actually mind that. Alright, so we have a lot of complaints. We have stuff burning down. Let's actually turn our attention real quick to services, because I didn't really pay attention. So this is still fine by the looks of it. So that is okay. Fire is fine. Police is good. And our medical facility is fine, but it would be nice to add another little clinic. I think we could totally do it somewhere here in this new neighborhood. Alright, so I drew another row that's gonna keep going, so that's fine. And now we have a little clinic here. That's cool. What is our education saying? Because I haven't looked at it in a while. We actually do lack education in this area, so we do want to introduce an elementary school. And how is our high school doing? Doesn't actually show us, but we do have spaces for it. Let's make another elementary school in this neighborhood. Okay, so I did put the school here. I wonder if we have access to... not the right button. Wonder if we have access to parking lots. We do. I want to drop in some parking, because we severely lack it everywhere in the city currently. Very nice. So this is a bit of a parking lot for the school. I think that's not too bad. We can detail this up a bit later. But this is pulling together nicely. I like where we got so far. We've done a lot of small things that didn't really change how our city looks that much visually, but we did resolve some things. Okay, so this stuff gets abandoned here. How is our mixed density going? Ooh, these are large buildings. Very, very large. Potentially something we might rethink a little bit. But you know what? I think we've done a lot in this episode. I know we haven't done anything super substantial, but I will reserve that to the next episode where we will start expanding our city towards this side. I'm hoping to establish some kind of a downtown, because currently we just have a sprawl. We don't really have a center. We have a center of population right here, but there's no really entertainment currently. And you know, this is very ugly. So we're gonna think about what happens next in the next episode. But I hope you enjoyed this one. I hope you enjoyed some road work, some new frames that we've done, and I hope you're enjoying the series so far. Let me know in the comments what you want me to build next, what you want me to focus next. Of course, I'm learning. This is my first city in City Skylines, so I'm trying my best, you know. But that is all from me. Thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you in the next episode of York, Toronto-inspired North American East Coast build. And I hope to see you in the next one, whenever that comes out. Alright, see ya.